What are your name and pronouns?
So, my name is Diamond Dust. I go by she, her. Very simple, straightforward, easy.
Nothing wrong with simple. And how do you identify?
So, I normally just keep things just pretty quick and easy. I'm a transgender woman, but also I am intersex.
Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. I don't meet very many intersex people, but again, I guess it's pretty rare, right?
Yeah, it was a very late blooming discovery for me. So yeah.
Oh, must have been an interesting experience then.
Yeah, I got cramps at like 19. That's like how late of a bloom that was. And I was just like, oh gosh, this is how I go out. Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about your VTuber model or persona?
Great. Honestly, with Diamond herself, have you heard of Cyberpunk Red by chance?
But I have heard like Cyberpunk 2077 I'm familiar with, but
no worries. Everybody's heard of Cyberpunk 2077, Johnny Silverhand V, all that good stuff. But Cyberpunk Red takes place in 2045, and Dia is a netrunner. That she was actually like one of my first netrunners I've ever produced, and one of the first characters I really fell in love with. And like she just kind of stuck, and after some time with with the character, I just thought, okay, why don't I just use her more as like my online stand-in? And then finally it hit like 2022. I think it was like 2022. Yeah, 2022. I started off PNG tubing, thanks to my art dad producing like also an animated GIF of Dia back then, and since then I've continued to just upgrade the model to add a little more cyber every time, and now we're at current day. Nice pair of cyber eyes, some tech hair, a little bit of EMP threading, and other stuff under the cover. So,
it looks great though. You look awesome.
Thank you. It was made by Raven the Fox, one of my fellow team members over at Moonlighters.
Yeah, that's cool.
Great guy.
Yeah, no, I love 3D VTubers in general. I started out with 3D for like 2 years of my career. I am still technically 3D. I just happen to have a 2D model as well now. So, I love 3D models, and I love the cyberpunk like aesthetic to it. I think it's really cool and something I kind of aspire to try out sometime. Oh hell yeah, yeah, exactly. God, I don't know. I'm very crazy for different kinds of styles. I never stick to just one style, so I'm always gonna be obsessed with all kinds of things. How did you ensure that your model represented you?
You see, when you sent me this question, I actually had to sit here and think on this one, Fee. So Dia was one of my first early expressions of femininity, because like many other as a tale old as time, surprisingly I found myself wanting to be femme after playing female characters at the TTRPG tables, whether it be D&D, Pathfinder, Cyberpunk Red. Dia, I thought, okay, why don't we explore more of a queer identity with the way Dia is like Diamond was made like really early in my transition. I made her to where she's very pre-op, very much a reflection of me, with some modifications, of course, because professional life I can't be running around with a purple bob. So I've been letting my hair grow out. I might make some edits to that, but other than that, same bright blue eyes, and also my love for purple coloring and makeup, and leather jackets and skinny jeans. The other thing though with Dia was very much, I had talked to my friends about this, because it's just like, well, how do you want to have her built for this? It's like, I want to keep her a little bit more anatomically close to me, where I'm developing and Dia will develop, and in the future, like here in the near future, because I'm 3 years on hormones, which, speaking of which, I got to take those here after the interview.
3 years? Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Must feel pretty great.
Oh, yeah. I only remember it because it was on election day of 2020. Oh, what a day.
Oh, God.
But, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What a perfect day to choose, huh?
Oh, it was great. I went into the clinic and got all that squared away, and then I was off to the races. And
that means you're about to reach 4 years now, then.
Oh, 4 years? That will be like here in, that'll be up here in November.
Yeah, but it sounds sooner than it is, but
oh yeah. Well, I mean, with everything coming out, I mean,
everything. Time moves too fast this year, I swear.
But my hips and my thighs have gotten a little bit thicker, and I'm developing. I've got I think small C cups hanging off my chest now, so like
I'm jealous.
Oh.
I don't have tibbies that big. My tibbies are quite small.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with small tits. There's nothing wrong with it.
Flat is justice, or whatever they say, right? Yeah, something like that.
Flat is also beautiful.
Yeah, true.
But I think also on top of that, very much more, I didn't try to modulate Dia's voice, because I'm in the process of raising my voice, because back then I used to growl out bass notes in choir, that my voice, HRT hasn't changed my voice really, but over time the vocal trainings really helped. Again, back in 2022, I wanted to start streaming, but I did not feel comfortable showing my face, especially because I think this was also, I'm trying to remember when exactly it happened, but the Kiwi Farms incident. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't think so, but I do know what Kiwi Farms is.
So there was a, with that in mind, I guess it's just a quick recap for folks. There was I think she was a transgender Canadian woman who made a lot of progressive commentary that Kiwi Farms was just not a fan of, and it just led to a series of harassment going on. So with that in mind, I decided I would rather keep my face hidden and anonymous. Now every once in a while, chat will see me IRL, but that's a very, very rare occasion. But also on top of that, it's just, I think it was just, dysphoria. I did not want, because already I was avoiding looking in the mirror. Why would I want to look at OBS, see myself in there? So with that in mind, I proceeded to, go with Vtubing as, basically showing a representation of me that I already use on the net. And do I find it rewarding? Yes, I do. In fact, with the fact that I cultivated Dia based out of Cyberpunk Red, I've become kind of I wouldn't say a celebrity in the community, but I'm a pretty well-known face in the community. So I like that. I've got some wheels under me with that.
Oh yeah, I'm glad that you find it rewarding for the most part. I know some people do have their bad experiences and their good experiences, and I asked, I want to go into the next question, right? Is can you share with me some of the highs and lows of your journey being transgender in the VTubing space?
Oh, well, for lows, that's a really. The thing is I probably don't really have anything that really sticks out from the occasional just, look, it's a guy with makeup, typical shit. Oh, I'm so glad you could come up with a creative insult. Oh my goodness. Anymore nowadays, when I see people roll into chat like that, is it bad that I feel come on, get a little more creative than this? I've heard this one a few times. You got to have something else in the tank.
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of used to people just like not really having good responses, not good thing to say. It's usually the same combination of "you'll never be a real woman," "oh, you're trans," "oh, you're queer," "oh, you're the T slur." It's really unoriginal, you know. It really is, and it's kind of hard to feel hurt by it. Like once you've heard it, once you've heard it 10 times, you know.
Oh yeah, and like. Also, I guess for me, like, looking at this, that's kind of about it. I've never really had anything because, well, actually, there was one incident. I'm not going to get into too great of details because it does mention a fellow member of our team, but a member of their fan base. Because often, this team member and I, we would flirt with each other. It just, just banter between one another. And one of their fans got up on their soapbox and sent me a rather colorful description of how to go away. Like, yeah,
that's not very nice. The fuck?
No, it was no bueno. And my friend and what really. It led to a high, all right? It did lead to a high. My friend actually stood their ground to their fan base. Was like, look, if this happens again, I'm done. We're done doing this. I will pack everything up and leave. And it was just, like, the fact that, like, my own friend would be willing to throw it all away just that way I wasn't, getting told to do, horrendous things. It spoke volumes to me in a way that I hadn't felt in a while, and it was just like, good grief, I didn't know, how to feel about it, and I mean, it felt nice, but at the same time, it's just like, you don't have to give up your happiness for me, but
yeah, just don't interact.
But like one of the other highs, so I've probably mentioned it a couple times, and it's probably been seen here and there. I am one of the founders of a stream group called Moonlighters. A fellow trans woman and I, Scarlet Darkmoon, shout out to her. She's been a big help on my VTubing journey. We got together and we created Moonlighters, which was to help smaller VTubers get up and off the ground. Help them with tech, help them with their performance skills, and now, I mean, it's busy. Like we've just kicked off a new program to, mentor specific people that want our mentorship. And then I guess one of the other highs out of this, the name Diamond Dust also. That used to be my drag stage name.
Oh, you did drag. That's really cool.
Yep, used to be a drag queen back in the day, and back in like 19 before the pandemic.
Prior pandemic, it's always before the pandemic, always.
In the years before the plague, what ended up happening? My drag mother, who's now my adoptive mother at this point, her and my other mom gave me the stage name Diamond Dust to give me, a new name for joining the house which houses or drag families. And I ran with it, and the name continued to stick, and that's what I put onto Diamond, the character, for a time. And then, well, our matriarch of our family ended up just continuously nitpicking at me, and I just said, I had enough of this, and well, Mom told me, find another way to keep going, and well, this is what I've been doing since. I have, well, I'm rounding the corner at 800 over on Twitch, and rounding the corner at 100
congrats.
on YouTube.
Let's go.
Hopefully I'm on track that maybe I can hit 1,000 by my anniversary in July.
I think you could do it. She got pushed hard.
I hope so.
Yeah, man, it's good to have big goals like that because, like, honestly, it's kind of what keeps people going, you know? I mean, me personally, you know, I like to have, like, set big goals for myself, and it helps me kind of, you know, feel more motivated to keep working and improving my content. So I respect that a lot. I like when people have clear goals for themselves.
And I guess also on top of that, one of the other, I'm sorry, I've got a lot of highs from this. Like, Diamond has been such a good impact. Like, just to clarify, you know, referring to, you know, the woman behind the curtain. Don't mind the woman behind the curtain, but Diamond has done so much good for me that, like, it's just like you're just a, you know, you're just a little hacker on the internet. Like, how are you doing this for me? And, you know, I've met, you know, my wonderful partner through one of our through the Cyberpunk Red community. I used to DJ over at VR clubs as Diamond Dust, and until, well, some things had changed in my life that, you know, I had to put that, you know, on the shelf. And I met my girlfriend through there. Fun fact, to the tone of Scandroid's Neo Tokyo. She heard that as like, you know Scandroid? And I'm like, you know Scandroid? And oh gosh. And, you know, my two other lovely girlfriends I met through my partner, and it's Dia has opened up a lot of doors, not only for, you know, here I am talking to myself in the third person, but she, you know, the VTuber has opened up a lot of doors for me, the person, and I think it's crazy that this happened. Like, I'm at this point in my life where, you know, I didn't think, you know, I thought, you know, I was just gonna be, you know, working my night, you know, my 9 to 5 night job, or well, 11 to 7 night job, and, you know, wasting away. But no, I've got things I look forward to doing, and Dia's been good medicine for me.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That's absolutely a relief to hear. It's also nice that you met so many amazing people through VTubing in that sense as well. I mean, also, the fact that, like, I know most people, you know, through the interviews have, you know, stated, oh, you know, it's mostly good. And I like to hear that. But it's nice to hear, like, somebody have so many positive things that they feel the need to mention. And I don't know, I like positivity. You know, positivity is addictive, you know?
Well, it's an important bit of medicine. Speaking of positive things, got one last thing.
I got you. Let's hear it.
Dia is a professional GM.
That's amazing.
Like, I use my persona over on Start Playing to GM Cyberpunk Red games as a professional GM, and I love it. It's just another platform for me to reach out to people on, and I love it so much.
Yeah. So then in that case, would you say that VTubing has helped you discover more about yourself?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. So, my brain rot is Cyberpunk Red. I'm so sorry, chat, comment section, and Fee, I am so sorry, but Cyberpunk Red, like VTubing, one of the big things that I do on my channel is I run Cyberpunk Red games. And I found out that I'm actually a pretty good writer because of this. So, you know, I at this point, you know, I do write some homebrew, but also on top of that, like, I've been GMing and writing stories that, you know, like, as of last week, there was 30 people on stream. I don't normally see more than like 15 people on stream.
And something big happened?
No, nothing like huge happened.
Yeah, but that's crazy, like, that your viewership went up that much. That's awesome.
I know.
That must have been really super exciting.
Well, the thing is I don't I keep the number counter off on my Twitch stats, and I just keep other things on to kind of keep track of, like, you know, how much time I've been going for, and, you know, how many clips have been made. But, you know, at the end of the night, you know, it's just like, I'll take a look to see, you know, who's there at the end of the night, and I looked, and there's 30 people on the counter. I'm like, oh, Where'd you all come from? It's like Patrick Star. It's like Patrick Star walking up to his rock, looking at all the eyes, like, "Who are you people?"
I actually really like how I'm looking at your videos now. Totally not being a creep. I like the way that you set up your streams for your sessions. This is really cool.
Yeah, well, Scarlett's the one that made those overlays, and I'm just the one that delivers on that end.
Still though, like you can tell you guys put a lot of love into production value. This is really cool.
Well, the thing is like the way I see it, you can have a great story, but unless you have the eye candy to catch people's attention, compared to some of the bigger TTRPG channels out there, because surprisingly, from what I've learned, I do pretty well as a GM, but I seem to be trending really well on the TTRPG section. So that's something that I've learned about myself. And also on top of that, I've surprisingly have discovered that I can actually make an impact on people's lives, even if it's just for 3 hours. It was like mid to late 20, I think it was like September of 2023. And I was just at work, and I got I got a DM from someone. It's like, okay, this isn't normal. Maybe someone just needs something. And I got a message from a fan, and I was like, hey, I saw you weren't streaming today. I hope everything's okay. The only reason I was wondering is because of you, I actually have something I look forward to, and I don't just rot in bed all day.
Yeah.
And just to dance around.
I must have felt pretty good to hear that.
And to dance around the term, I saved a life. So that's if what I do can make impacts like that, why would I stop? And I'd say, and as this is someone else that's in the transgender community, it's something that I do advocate for a lot, and hopefully I do more, because one of the big charities which I've done charity work for before is the Trevor Project.
Love the Trevor Project so much.
Trevor Project saved my life, and so I need to pay it forward. It's not that I wanted to, I needed to. And I guess for me, one of the things that I've discovered is that I can be someone that other people in our community can count on to just be there to help them escape the world for a little bit. Sure, I may talk of a much darker future, but at least that dark future, one of the most affirming things I have found about Cyberpunk Red is you can just get gender care done for $500 in 4 hours. It's just like, wow, what a dystopian future. All I need to do is save $500, and then boom, I'm done. No pills, no surgery, just done.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Oh. Yeah, sorry, it's my brain rot.
No, you're fine. I honestly I think it's cool that you that you also support Trevor Project. So I love Trevor Project. I have never personally sought their services, but I know that it's helped a lot of people that I know in the past. And so I really appreciate that charity in particular.
It's such an important charity that I've donated to time and time again. That they do such good work, especially in a time like this. And I know things are bad now. My gut tells me things are going to get better in the future. But we have people like the Trevor Project and so many other organizations out there that do so much for the transgender community, and they don't want a dime for it.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, you're right.
It was it was December 2019. It was my first Christmas without, my family, because, I was just told, yeah, you better not ever come home ever again. We don't want to see you. And, well, I talked to the Trevor Project, and they got me through some of the worst days. Being out on the street on my own, and in the winter. And 2019 was a very rough winter here in the state I'm living in, and I powered through, and now I'm sitting here talking to you, and honestly,
you're making waves now.
And I suppose before we move on to the next question, just message to everyone out there: if everyone in the transgender community specifically, and to those that may need to hear this, if things start looking real desperate, reach out. There will be someone that'll pick up the phone for you. It might take a few phone calls. Somebody will answer it.
Thank you for putting that message out there. I know a lot of people will probably feel a lot of comfort in hearing those words, and even if they don't think about it now, then I'm sure someday it'll come to mind, Mm-hmm. And then I guess, as you said, my final question for you, and this one's always a doozy for everyone that I ask it to. What would you say to somebody who is looking at VTubing as an option to being their truest self in content creation?
Okay. So I've actually got an answer for this one. I'm sorry I'm a little long-winded when it comes to this one. But it's always going to take a moment to look at yourself first. I understand, especially for those of you who were like me back at the beginning of our transition, if we're starting VTubing. Ooh, it could take a moment to really take a look at ourselves and really decide what about us do you want to put out there. And at the end of the day, what I have found is, take your principles and take your core values and put those first. It doesn't have to be everything that defines you, but it's everything that guides who you are and keeps you in check. And with that in mind, be sure to find what fits you. I know some VTubers who they've gone through rebrand, trying to find what represents their truest self. Now, luckily for me, I kind of hit the nail on the head the first time around. There's others, they're trying, and that's totally okay. And when you use VTubing as that option, remember, just like you, where you're making that, where you're making those improvements to make to represent your truest self, all it takes is, well, I guess in my case, it takes a couple $100 and someone that's willing to put things together, because I don't understand Blender or Vroid or anything like that. But that, or at least a couple friends that might know a thing or two, or if you know how to do it, to take time, find what fits, and on top of that, play your character to their part, but also at the same time, don't live vicariously through your character. Like, make sure that you also, have some separation between you and your character, but you can still see some of the traits in your character. I mean, Fee, do you have much tabletop experience?
Not particularly. The only experience I have is usually from D&D with some friends, normally.
Great.
So
you have experience with D&D. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, fun fact. Did you know that roughly 90% of the time, that character you make will have some form of yourself in that character?
Don't call me out.
Oh no, I'm not calling you out. Look, I mean, for Dia, I mean, she was, she was part of well, she's a little bit of a reflection of where I came from, where she ran away from a gang that had some very, very, very far extreme principles when she found out she was trans, and she took off and ran, and she made the most of everything she could. And it's just like, that's like in my case, I left a family that had, some really very extreme ideas about the world, and I ran like hell away. So, so don't worry, Fee. Maybe that tiefling bard of yours. Did I get that right?
Well, usually I actually don't really go for tiefling, surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really go for tiefling. I don't know, a lot of my friends go for tieflings, though.
Usually like some of the D&D tables I've seen, we always have the genderqueer tiefling bard who's having an identity crisis every other week. And you know what? I'm here for it.
My friends are usually the tieflings. I usually go for like elves. I like elves a lot. Or I go for homebrew.
Half elf is my favorite species.
For the groups. Well, I have problems. I do go for bard though sometimes. Bard is usually my number one choice. My brain goes, a bard would be great. But then sometimes I'm like,
support your friends.
Yeah, ew, supporting people, gross.
Oh gosh. Look, don't worry. I fit that stereotype of basically being healer mom for party mom and also the healer.
That's amazing. Oh man, yeah. I also healer positions are also really fun. So I don't know. I don't play a whole ton of D&D, but I used to play with some friends, and I do vaguely remember that I don't really go for tieflings. My friends always did, but I definitely would go for a bard if I could.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, and I know a lot of my life is based around TTRPG. Luck, numbers, and stories being written. Your story is still being written. Those of you guys who are wondering, why are you transitioning now? Hey, that, my friend, is called character development. That is a big turning point in your plot line. Accept it. Run with it. It's your story. Write it how you wish.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you very much for that input. I appreciate you, Diamond. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you want to add before I end the recording?
I suppose as one last thing to all of you, be safe out there. I know the world's a little rough, but hey, at the end of the day, there's always going to be all of us out here for you. Tune in, come talk to us, and I mean, even me especially, if you end up joining my community ever, feel free to reach out if you ever, have questions. Especially for those of you guys who are new VTubers, it's literally part of what my organization does.